Okay, so there's been one big story in South African football. And the big story has been the split up between Mamelodi Sundowns and coach Rulani Mokwena. A lot has been made of it, and we've spoken about how Mamelodi Sundowns might be moving going forward, and we've seen some of their moves. Coach Mangoba, he takes over the role, the reins as the head coach, and then Coach Steve has come back in the absence of Coach Rulani. But one person we didn't know about was Coach Rulani as to where he was going to go. Where was he going to take his next job? He was on Robert Marawa's show speaking about maybe wanting to go be an assistant to Ernst Middendorp at Cape Town Spurs. He's spoken about maybe staying back and, coaching his Black Poison team while he takes the time to get over whatever happened, but also plan his next moves. But now we have a clue as to where he's going to go. A report came out. A report that is a rumor came out that says that Coach Rulani has signed for Wydad Casablanca. The report goes on to say that he has been in Casablanca in Morocco for the past couple of days, and that is where he's going to be coaching. The rumor has it that he's going to be allowed to pick his own technical team, which I think is a good move for him. It's a good move for him, not the best, but let's have a conversation about what this means and where everything is. Now, for context, Wydad Casablanca is the team that routinely wins Botola Pro 1 League. They're the guys that everybody looks at. We know, even in the Champions League, they've got 5 of them. They won 2 in a row in the past few years. But that is a team that has started to struggle over the past 2 years. They finished 6th this season in the Botola Pro 1 League, a league that was won by Joseph Zinbauer, former coach of Orlando Pirates, and also number 2 was Nasruddin Nabi with AS FAR Rabat, who has since gone over to join the Kaizer Chiefs. So you can tell that this is a team that is a little bit that is struggling a little bit. It's a giant that it's on its way down, but they're trying to rescue it. Now, Adil Ramsey, who was the coach at the beginning of last season, was the guy that Coach Rulani had beaten in the AFL final. It turns out that AFL final was not a flash in the pan, and he went on to have a poor season where he was let go, and they brought in Fauzi Benzarti, a familiar coach to Wydad Casablanca, to take the team up until around February. So you can tell that it's a team that needs a coach very badly, and they need a very good coach. Right? What are the pros and cons of this whole arrangement? One of the pros is that Coach Rulani is massively respected in Morocco. Coach Rulani is the same guy who went over there in the first leg of the AFL and got an ovation from the fans, and he was bowing and waving and doing all of that stuff. Some might say similar signs to Coach Pitso and Ahly before he went to Ahly. So he's respected there. I think everybody's keen to have him. He's one of Africa's top coaches. If you look at just the people who are consistently up there or had very good performances this year, you have to mention Coach Rulani in that conversation. Wydad Casablanca, as I mentioned, had Adil Ramsey, a younger type of coach. So it seems like they're trying to look towards modern football and bringing younger coaches that maybe have new ideas and can grow. So already there's a bit of fertile land there. It is rumored that Coach Rulani is going to have his own technical team. They're going to allow him to pick his own technical team, so that also allows him a bit of control. And there's also the fact that he's not going to be playing in the Champions League and having the Champions League pressure in his first season at Wydad Casablanca. So that is very good. But I think the biggest reason and the biggest plus for Coach Rulani in this whole situation, should he be announced as the coach of Wydad Casablanca, is that Wydad Casablanca, by virtue of doing so well in Africa over the years, accumulating the points, but also being one of the winners in a specific window, they're going to be playing in the Club World Cup. So this is a tournament that Coach Rulani would have taken Mamelodi Sundowns to had he still been the coach. It's going to be happening next year between June and July. That is the place where it's going to be. It's post-season. So he's going to have a whole season with this club and then be able to take them to the Club World Cup. Now, that also becomes an added positive for Coach Rulani, because even though Europe really wanted him, I don't think he is as known in Europe. So the rumor was that Marseille fans were the ones that were calling for Coach Rulani to be hired in League One in France. So he's got a bit of a name to him, right? But I don't think he has the type of success or the visibility that would have warranted one of those European teams taking a chance with him. We already saw what happened with Coach Pitso, and even though he's got 3 Champions League under his name and all of that stuff, he still couldn't quite break into Europe. So having a great performance at the Club World Cup might open some eyes to Coach Rulani. I would have thought that Coach Rulani would have been a candidate to go to Europe anyway, had he continued on with Mamelodi Sundowns and maybe had 2 or 3 really good seasons with them. I think he would have been a candidate in any case to try get into Europe, or at the very least one of the lower leagues, your Belgiums, your Hollands, those type of leagues. I think he would have done very well in trying to get there. He was already doing the podcast. He was already viewed a certain way in terms of modern football. You can hear a lot of the people who interviewed him speak about him and say that he's one of the coaches for the future. You know, he did an interview with T4 Football. So I think all of this makes it a relatively good choice for Coach Rulani. The cons are very simple. The North is not forgiving. The North of Africa doesn't give you time. The North of Africa, they're demanding. No doubt he will need to win the league. He will need to get back into the Champions League. And if he does get a second year, he will know that winning the Champions League is top of mind for that club. And when I mean pressure, it's very different to the type of pressure that he had at Mamelodi Sundowns. As much as Mamelodi Sundowns wants to win the Champions League, up there it's different. When you're with an Ahly who's won it, 12 times? When you're with a Wydad Casablanca who's won it 5 times? It really is the most important thing that you will do in your coaching time there, right? And that becomes one of the issues that Coach Rulani will have to face. And I guess maybe he's ready for that pressure. The other problem, honestly speaking, right, is that the North hasn't shown to be a proper stepping stone into Europe. Now, I don't want us to act as though the coaches here in Africa don't want to go and coach in Europe, to act as though some of them don't dream of going and taking a team in the English Premiership, taking a team in La Liga. But if you look at what Pitso's story was, Pitso went to the North and then tried to enter Europe via the Gulf. Can you make the jump from Wydad to a French league? Can you make the jump out of Africa? Should this have been the best time for him to maybe take a lesser job in a lesser league in Europe, where he can maybe get in there, show a little bit of something and build his way up? The difference, I guess, with Coach Pitso, to be fair, is that Coach Pitso has some years under him. He was a little bit older when he left. I don't think time is necessarily on his side with the way that they view him. I know coaches coach until forever, but I don't think time and the way he spoke was something that would have been accepted in Europe. But Rulani, of course, being 37, he's got a lot of time to try break into there. So maybe this is a natural step. It is a team that is going to love him until they don't. They love him right now, but until the results start going a certain way, they might turn around and look at him a little bit differently. But what I love about this move is look at our coaches going elsewhere. Look at our coaches not being beholden to South Africa. And I know, I personally look at Coach Rulani as a different caliber of coach than the guys that I speak about. I think that Coach Rulani would have left eventually anyway. I think he would have gone into Africa or maybe even into Europe in any case. But for the most part, you find our coaches being stuck to the country and stuck in fighting for the 2-3 slots that are available for the big teams. The big teams don't respect them. Then they don't get that bit of a chance. So now we are seeing more high-profile coaches coming from our country. Think about Coach Murena Ramurebuli over there at, Jordaan Galaxy. Think about what he did. He's one of the reasons why Wydad is having such a tough time, because he beat them in the Champions League last season, right? He beat Orlando Pirates to qualify for that thing. We see Fadlu Davids now taking over at Simba in Tanzania. We are seeing our coaches go out and actually explore the world. So this is going to be very interesting. I want to see Coach Rulani learn from this situation. I think there's a couple of things that you can learn from this situation. One, you don't have as much power as you think you have. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt over there, out in the north. You're not going to be a coach that has been there for 12 years and has coached under 15 and under 19 and was with Pitso and all of that stuff. You're not going to have the luxury of the family of it. But maybe it's a good thing, because the family of it got him into this situation. So I want to see if Coach Rulani can learn that, sometimes you have to play the mangoba role. Sometimes you don't make a noise, not because you don't have an opinion or a way of doing stuff. Sometimes it's just so that you get a chance to implement your stuff. And if the North turns on you, if Moroccans turn on you, then you are on your own again. So I want him to start off on the right foot. I want him to realize when he gets to Morocco, the second thing, that results are everything there. Sundowns, a lot of that hinged on what the coach wanted to do and your own ambitions. And yes, the club wanted to be top, but they weren't ruthless about it. Those guys are going to be ruthless. Coach Pitso won 2 Champions Leagues with Ahly. And he still faced a lot of criticism from all over the place. So I would like Coach Rulani to hit the ground running, get as many results as you can, and start getting start getting your reputation up. I think having Mamelodi Sundowns and getting to the Champions League semi-finals and almost going invincible are great things. But now he has to build. And he has to build in a way that Coach Pitso couldn't build. He has to build in a way our previous coaches haven't been able to build, in order for him to get into the leagues that he wants to go to play at the highest level. He cannot waste any time right now. So I think it's not the best move I would have made. Maybe if he was able to get himself into a mid to lower table team, maybe in the top 5 leagues, or in the championship or in League 2, or even in La Liga, the second division, I think that would have been a better move for him, wanting to become one of the greatest coaches ever. But this move is not a bad move, because he's going to a well-resourced club. He's going to a place that's got expectations and pressures. He's going to grow, and they respect him. So all we can say really is good luck to Coach Rulani at Morocco. It hasn't been announced fully. So again, we're waiting for that announcement. But it looks like the deal is done from the reports that I had found and read. So hopefully Coach Rulani does well. For whatever you want to say about him, for however negative you may look at him, those are the guys who are the future of our football. Those are the guys who are going to take our football to another place. And if Coach Rulani does well, and Coach Pitso does well, and Coach Fadlu does well, and Coach Ramurebuli does well, that shines greatly on us South Africans. And it allows our coaches to dream and gives them passageways. The same way Coach Pitso became a gateway, showing us that you could go into Egypt and coach, showing us that you could go into Saudi and coach, showing us that you could go into the United Arab Emirates and coach. I am hoping that Coach Rulani is on a similar path and can take it even further, so that the next crop of coaches can dream bigger. The next crop of coaches can be accepted over there. So all beef and personal things aside, I think this is great for our football. I think this is great for Coach Rulani to even get out of the country. Like I said, there aren't many places you can go in South Africa once you've been to Mamelodi Sundowns. There's very few places you can go that will have the pedigree, that will have the want to win and that will back you. And he's gone to one of the teams that will. Good luck, Coach Rulani.